We made it to episode 10. This is CMY. I'm Christian. That's Mark.
Yeah.
And that's
me.
Yanni. What's going on, guys?
10 episodes. We still don't know how to do this.
10 episodes in, and we got like a whole 7 followers on YouTube. We're doing good. We need to do better, though.
Yeah, we do. But we're still, we enjoy it. I mean, it's always good talking to you guys. So,
it's a fun experience to get together virtually every week and talk to you guys about something that is,
near and dear to our hearts.
What I revolve my life around.
Yeah.
Yanni, tell us what's going on with you, man. I hear you're having a situation.
So after making fun of Mark all the time for changing cameras and flip-flopping and going here and going there, I listed a bunch of stuff for sale. I listed my Q, the grip, my Fuji X-H1, lenses, more lenses, other lenses, battery grip, blah, blah. My house, my car. No, maybe, possibly. Listed all that stuff for sale, and I want to get a Q2. So I guess I'm upgrading, but also consolidating.
I had nothing to do with this. For the viewers out there thinking that it's a possibility that I did.
So basically, I was in the Keys this weekend. I took Christian's advice, and I only took the Q. Sort of. I had an M6, I had a GR3, I had a GoPro, and I had an Osmo Pocket. But all of those stayed in the bag. The only thing that came out and got used was the Q. So I only took one camera on my trip to the Keys. But one day I'm out with it, and it started raining. And then I started freaking out, and I had to throw it inside of a box and hide it. I want something weather sealed. And I want my Q, but I want the Q because I love the Q. The Q is amazing. The image quality is insane. And I wouldn't mind having more pixels. But I mostly just want the weather sealing. So the Q2 is weather sealed. And
has a better EVF.
So, yeah. I actually read about that yesterday. I have no idea. The EVF in the Q is fine.
It's definitely better. It is, but it's a lot better.
But you don't know
by a lot.
I have no idea what I'm missing out on.
Yeah, no. When you get it, you're going to be like, holy shit. That's what I felt like when I got the SL2 because I had the SL.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked in the SL2, I was like, Jesus, man. It's like looking through an optical viewfinder almost.
And the XH1 supposedly has a pretty good viewfinder, but I don't really notice. It's all the same to me, just like colors. I don't see size. I don't see size, and I don't see colors on my pictures. It's all the same thing. I can't tell.
Yanni, the blind photographer.
Yeah, basically. I just shoot. But hopefully.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I was just gonna keep on babbling.
Oh no, I was gonna say the technology advancement of the cameras when it comes to that stuff. It's funny because I think if you go from cameras I guess the same generation, the differences are really small. But when you jump up a couple generations where there's a couple years between two cameras, I feel like you can definitely see the small differences. Like when I got the X100V and we talked about viewfinders compared to the X100F, it kind of looks the same, but just it's not even so much even, at least for me, the resolution or anything. It was just even the design of the viewfinder was just better. It's easier to see through. You don't feel like you're shoehorning your eye into the small little things.
Yeah,
and
not just
same thing I actually noticed with the M10 and the M240. I looked at it after the fact and I'm like, oh, they said the viewfinder's change is supposed to be better to look through, and I'm like, it's remarkable to look through. It's so much easier, and it's it's an optical viewfinder. It's just so much better. So
the on the Q2, for example, the auto the auto where it
the switch
turns on the eye sensor. When you put it up to your face, the EVF turns on, and then when you take it away from your face, the LCD turns on. It's more intuitive. It works better than I feel like the Q is a little finicky sometimes, where it's like, dude, my eye turn on,
the Q is
the other way around.
The Q is too sensitive and not sensitive enough at the same time.
Right.
It always turns on when I'm when I'm holding it out and I turn the camera sideways and the strap goes anywhere near the viewfinder. I go, oh, that's it, my screen's gone.
Yeah.
But then I put it up to my eye and it doesn't switch. I'm like, come on, guys. Just
I did notice that when I tried it out for a bit. Yeah.
I really hope that we get some new software updates soon. there's something about the Q2 and the SL2 that I would love to have, which is being able to, so in the menu, when you hit the menu, there's like your quick menu, right? You can't customize that yet. But
On the Q2?
Josh over at Like a Store Miami said that the rumor is they're working on that. So
you can't do that on the Q2? You could do it on the Q1.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You could make your own custom menu.
You're right. Yes, you can, but it's not the same quick menu. It's not the touchscreen quick menu that you get on the SL2 and the Q2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which is dumb. Like they should have just done, like, there are things that Leica does like that it just pissed me off. That I'm like, dude, this is so obvious. Like, why did you not add that?
Last episode, we talked about the Q for astrophotography, and you're like, no, it doesn't work because of the shutter speeds. Mm-hmm. Well, yes, you can get shutter speeds on the camera without using the app. But if you want to go to 120 seconds, you need to be at ISO 100. When you go to ISO 200, now you're at 60 seconds, and it keeps on scaling up.
Yeah.
So when you get to 3200 ISO, you're down to, I think, your maximum shutter length is like 4 seconds. Why? Oh, there might be banding. Cool. Let me find out for myself.
Yeah.
You're not the boss of me.
You're not the boss of me, Leica. Except they really, really are. Like, they're literally the boss of all three of us.
Tell me how to use your cameras.
In the same vein, let me ask, on the Q2, the Q has this one thing that drives me insane. It wants to keep the shutter speed at one, even if you set like minimum shutter speed to 1/15 of a second, since it has IBIS, it'll still keep it at 1/60th until it gets to 60, like whatever your max ISO is. Then it'll drop down the shutter speed to 1/15. Do you know if the Q2 has that same limitation?
I don't know. I've never had that. Like,
yeah, you usually
the
shoot
situation
faster
in front of me where I had to do that.
Yeah.
I do have to say as well, I believe the Q2 has better IBIS than the Q, although the Q IBIS is pretty good, but like not as good as the SL2. Like I'm saying the Q2 IBIS is not as good as the SL2. Mm-hmm. The SL2's IBIS is freaking incredible. Like, I remember the first time I tried the camera over at Like a Store Miami, and it had an SL lens on it, and dude, I think I shot something at like 1/6 of a second handheld, and it was like perfectly sharp with no motion at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, obviously if I'm shooting a person, like there's no way a person's going to stay still at 1/6 of a second, but like to shoot an object at 1/6 of a second, like where I could be at a really, 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 I mean, I almost at that point I could be at like 100 ISO 100, you know?
Yeah, that's why like the XH1, the IBIS on that thing is amazing. On certain lenses, it'll get like 5.5 stops, which is amazing. And then the Olympus cameras, I'm reading an article of a guy doing like 2 or 3 second exposures, like propped up against the wall, but still hand holding it.
Yeah.
And getting like 2 or 3 second exposures sharp.
Yeah, I could probably do that on my SL2. I haven't tried that, but I probably could.
I cannot.
Yeah, it's wild.
We're talking about the different Fuji cameras and the X-T4. I actually don't know why I came across this, because I wasn't really looking at it for X-T4 information, but they're saying it's like the X-T4 with like, you know, one of their lenses, like even the one I think that's on here, the 1680, like you get like 6.5 stops of like stabilization. That's just, to me, that's just insane. Like 6 stops. That's just
it really is crazy, especially considering that. Let's take my profession, for example. When I shoot weddings, I went from using the Canon Mark IV, which is realistically like the camera that most wedding photographers use. It's a Canon 5D Mark IV. That's probably like, if they grouped all of the wedding photographers in the world together, that would probably be the top camera that wedding photographers use. It's nowhere near like technology wise, it's nowhere near what's out now. And that's like not that old, man. You know what I mean? And a lot of people still use that camera. But I have a lot of, you know, photographers ask about, and it's not just Leica, it's just like, why upgrade? You know what I mean? Like, why would I upgrade if I can just use my Mark IV? Like, actually, my I think I had this conversation with my buddy Ray Zamora who's a wedding photographer as well. He shoots with the Mark IV, and he has an R now as well. But he had the Mark IV first, and he's like, which one? When he got the Mark IV, he's like, should I get the R or the Mark IV? And I was like, dude, I would just get the R, man. It's like the newer camera, better technology and stuff. And he ended up getting the Mark IV. I think he still prefers the Mark IV. But for me, it's just like, dude, you can do more things. And if, as a professional photographer, if you're not shooting for the art form or shooting it as a hobby, like as a professional photographer, you want to be able to use your camera in a multitude of situations. And that's why I always vote for the upgrade. You know what I mean?
That's always been your viewpoint, but like a lot of professionals in pretty much any industry is this tool getting the job done for me?
Yeah,
yes.
I disagree with that.
Should I spend more money? Like if the Mark IV gets it done for him, and like maybe he could do a little bit more, but he's doing everything he has to do with the Mark IV. Why spend the extra money?
Because I don't know. For me, I feel like I owe it to my clients to have the best possible.
That's like against every industry. Like for me, being an attorney, like my office, I have a nice desk, I have a nice chair. I like having nice shoes, stuff like that. Other attorneys wear they have one suit, they wear the same suit every single day, same dingy shoes they've had for the last 30 years. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to court. I'm still winning cases. My clients are happy. Cool. You saved a lot more money than I did. You're probably financially better off than I am because I spend money on stupid shit all the time.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely that side to it. That's for sure. Like, I mean, my obsession with being up to date with technology has definitely cost me a lot more money than what most people would spend on technology in a lifetime.
Yeah. So probably like
every year I get a new iPhone. I lease cars because every 3 years I want a new car. Like, I just always want the latest and greatest. I don't know. I wish I was not like that. I really do. But I can't find a reason to not be like that.
Yeah. As we were talking about earlier, I think like, at least when it comes to cameras, the longest I think I've had cameras longer, but it seems like a year these days is like the longest that I'll have something, or, you know, even just technology wise, before things kind of get obsolete, where you feel like you have the oldest stuff. And yeah, I think there's different schools of thought when it comes to like upgrading camera equipment, because from my perspective, I feel like if this was my profession, I'd probably stay on the side of something more, I guess you call it stable, right? If it's not broke, don't fix it, because, you know, I'm going to use this tool and it's going to eventually, you know, wear out. So I'm not going to continually upgrade and spend money every year or whatever, every cycle, unless it's going to like open up a new, you know, source of income. For instance, like let's say investing in a drone, right? Like I'd probably pick up a drone because you could say, well, I can do real estate photography, right? That's something that's going to bring you more return than just going from one, you know, camera to like the newer one or something. You know, that's my thought. And again, if I was doing it as a profession, but since it's just a hobby, that's kind of it, right? It's like part of it is just it's just the fun of it, right? It's just looking at what's new and then saying, okay, well, how can I fit this into my life today with what I'm doing? But you know, if it was a professional purpose, I think I'd probably be a little bit more conservative with it. You know,
I think one of the things for professionals too, speaking as a completely non-professional, is that once
from a non-professional standpoint,
once you learn your tool, like it's scary to get something else that's a different tool that works in a different way. Like back to my profession, there's still attorneys using WordPerfect because it's all they know how to use.
Holy crap!
Yeah, like
wow.
Have they made WordPerfect in the past decade and a half? I have no idea. But people send me stuff in WordPerfect
their, like,
format.
1983 like, IBMs to work and shit.
Yeah. Like, how do I open this? I don't know what. Hold on. Let me bring out my Hewlett Packard. Here we go.
Sorry, I apologize for my children barking. Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, it's what the perfect example of what Yanni was saying in terms of being a wedding photographer. And this is something that is real life experience. We live in Miami where it rains all the time. And I countless times had to tell clients, like, listen, if it rains and you want to do pictures out in the rain, I just simply can't do it. When I was shooting Canon, now I can. Why would you not want to do that for your clients? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I'm getting a key too for my Clients, yeah.
Well, dude, you're gonna upgrade to a Q2, and I think that you're gonna be so happy with the camera. Like, you're not gonna. It's gonna be one of those cameras that you're not gonna want to sell or upgrade for a long time.
I'm already planning on selling it like in the next like 10 months.
To get what? An SL2?
An M10R. Like, I'm waiting for the M10R to drop in price, and I can sell the Q2.
But I mean, that's a newer camera.
And I could
in a way, that's an upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah, and I could sell my 262 and then get the M10R and then stay with that for hopefully 4 or 5 more years. Like, I've had
Until
the M262
the
for 4 years. Maybe not. The 262 I've had for 4 years. I've had my X100 for 5 years now. I have a GF2 that I've had since 2010, 2011.
11 probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's still sitting there, and I still every now and then use it. I've even done street photography and posted photos with it. Mark, which camera have you kept for longer than 3 weeks?
Well, sir, if you'd like to know, nothing in my drawer right now is probably, let me think. The X100V I got in March when it came out. The XT3 that I'm filming on, I actually bought last year March, but then sold it in like January, and then bought it back this March. So as a camera, I've had it for a while, but not this particular one. The M10, obviously, I just upgraded. The M240, I got it last year, May maybe, or some April. So I had that for about like a year and a half ish, something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've had my M10 since 2017. 2018. So 2 years. I've had my M10. Actually, September of 2018. So 2000. Yeah. So 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like at this point, I don't have any faults with any of the cameras I have now. Meaning, like, there's no like, for instance, the XT3, right? Like, my thing with it before was like, it's kind of too big to shoot with a prime. Not too big, but again, it's not pocketable. It's not something I can kind of stash away quickly, like in, like the diaper bag or something when we go out. I'd rather the X100. So I have that for that purpose. I never had before a big zoom on or a long zoom with range on it. When I had the XT3 the first time, now I have a 16-80, which is like a 24 to 120 equivalent. So, if I need that. So this is good for video because it has it has stabilization in the lens. It's good for shooting, stuff in the backyard with the kids when they're running around from a distance. So like I have every camera that I have now, I think serves a purpose. And except for maybe the X100 and the M10, there's not a lot of overlap. But again, the X100 is weather sealed. It's smaller. It's, a lot quicker. It's autofocus. So there's, there are cases in which is I think a little bit better than the M10. So I really don't have a reason I think to upgrade anything at this point. I really don't want to upgrade anything, and I don't want to buy any new lenses or anything really. So,
guys, put a star on this podcast and come back like in about 5 weeks, and let's see what Mark says then.
Yeah, today's date, just for reference, is September 10th. So mark that down. This will probably go up in about a week or so, but yeah, we'll see September 10th. So this is what Yanni does, by the way. He reminds us of the things we've said.
I learned this recently in the last episode. He had started something that I said a long time ago.
Yeah,
and used it against me.
He also remembered that you insulted him at his QL 17 whatever. The Cananet. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that I called it the poor man's Leica.
Yeah, and you're like,
I did not coin that term. I did not coin that term.
I think what you actually said is that I had that camera and it sucked.
I mean, it didn't suck for what it is, but it sucked compared to a Leica.
Possibly.
Fair. Fair.
I mean, so does like a lot of stuff. So
I was to like scroll way back in Instagram. It's like one of the first few times we slid into each other's DMs.
Yeah. Wait. How did that happen? The history.
I posted up. I don't know if one of us started following each other. Probably had something to do with Tinte Cafe. And then I already knew who you were because my wife was into your photography, so she would like show me like your posts all the time. She's like, look at this guy wearing 2 Leicas. I'm like, oh, I kind of want to be him. That's when I only had 1 Leica.
Oh my gosh,
dude, I love being essentially the only wedding photographer I know that shoots Leica, because I show up to weddings and the videographer is always like, what is this? Like,
Where'd you find this guy?
Why did he spend his life savings on his cameras? Dude, I don't know, man. It is what
the
is.
videographers are thinking is like, how much did you pay for this wedding photographer? Why aren't we getting paid that much?
That's actually really funny.
I plead the fifth, attorney.
Yeah, well, I don't hopefully intend to sell or upgrade or do anything with any cameras anytime soon. The only thing I want to do, and this is the last thing I'm going to try, is on my M10. I use the Voigtlander 35 Ultron f2 lens, and it has this little dinky focus knob. You can probably see. Let's see if we can do the thing. There you go. Yeah, so this little knob here, which I'm not really the biggest fan of. I kind of get used to it, but I don't, and I get annoyed. So on a unrelated note, but related, I ended up getting a 3D printer about a month ago from my brother-in-law, a really small one. So I 3D printed a focus tab. Let's see if we can get this to work. There, yes, we can probably see it's a little focus tab. So this is my first design on it. I got to figure out how to put a hole in it, what size I need, and then get a screw to screw in there. So my idea is to replace that guy with the focus tab. Okay, I'm going backwards. And then just have an extra focus tab, like a normal lens. Because otherwise, I really love this lens. And it would really save me from having to spend $2,000 plus on a actual Summicron that I, don't really think I need, because this lens is fine otherwise optically. So, yeah, that's what's
also
going on.
You could also write to Voigtlander and tell them that they're being twats by putting a freaking pole on their lenses instead of a focus tab.
Yeah. Well, it's their legacy line. That's why it has that design with all the silver on it and whatever. So
put
it is what it is.
Silver focus tab on it. That'd look pretty cool. Actually,
cool. Yeah,
you should 3D print one in silver, so it matches.
Yeah, I'll see.
3D printers they can only work in plastic, right?
Probably the consumer ones. I mean,
yeah, you could 3D print food basically. So you could 3D print metal, food, aluminum, all that stuff.
But the consumer ones, I think, are limited to
they're filament.
Yeah, they're mostly plasticky type stuff. There's ABS, there's PLA, there's I think PETG, there's a couple other ones. There's even I just found this out from my brother-in-law. I don't know if this one can, but there's filaments that have carbon fiber threaded into it and stuff like that. So it's not going to look like carbon fiber, right? But it's going to have the strength of carbon fiber because it has the fibers built into it. So if you need to a little bit more extra rigidity and stuff, you can. So yeah, I mean, 3D printing is really cool, man. I've been digging into it over the weekend, and
they are pretty cool, man. I've seen some awesome stuff made with them. I did some photos for a middle school once. It was I photographed their classrooms and some of the teachers and stuff for their brochure, and they had a specific classroom, and they have a class at this school for 3D printing, and they had 3 or 4 of these enormous 3D printers, and they're super cool, man. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it just takes
3D
forever
printers.
to print some stuff.
My middle school had an Apple IIe, floppy disks.
I was playing Oregon Trail in middle school.
Seriously.
And dying of dysentery.
Yeah, and dying of chlamydia.
What Oregon Trail were you playing?
He said Oregon Trail. Oregon Trail. That's what it was. So.
Oregon.
Marc has died of dysentery.
Dysentery.
Oh my gosh.
Well, so you're not going to buy the Q2 until you sell all your stuff, Yanni?
Yeah, because I have this thing of saying I'm going to sell something to buy something else, then I buy something else, and then I don't sell anything.
Yeah.
The XH1 was supposed to get sold to buy the Q.
Yeah, but you already listed everything, so that's the job's halfway done. I feel like you could just
ignore every DM that I got.
No, I'm saying just go ahead and get the Q2, and then you go ahead and sell your stuff, but it's already posted. I feel like that's the worst part, is going through the mission of photographing everything and then putting it online and writing the caption of trying to sell this stuff.
My thing is the anxiety of actually shipping it out, because I honestly posted the condition it's in, but I have this fear that like, oh my God, they're gonna think it's not as good as I said it is, and they're gonna get mad and like send it back.
Dude, I don't know if I'm ever gonna be able to sell any of my Leicas. Actually, I think I made a comment about this to you guys the other day, because like my Leicas get beat the fuck up, and they're not just. It's not like, oh, it's cool brassing because it's an M3. No, it's like a new digital Leica that everybody wants in absolute pristine condition for some reason. Like, okay, why do you want a camera? Like, why don't you not want to use your camera, dude? You know what I mean?
You know, that's funny you mention that, because I was looking at this M10. I'm like, other than a couple very minor things, I'm like, this person didn't use this camera. I don't believe they use this camera.
I don't understand.
I don't believe it, because I'm like, I've scuffed it already. Like, I've barely used it.
Yeah, dude. Like
I don't know, you can see like there's the lens cap to my X100. You can't really see it. There's like gouges in it.
Oh my God.
The
lens cap to my QP has a huge scratch in the front of it.
Brassing all around the screen. I don't even know how that happens. Like I use everything.
I say that because I see all these for sale posts like on the Leica classifieds on Facebook and stuff. And all these guys' cameras are like legit new. And it's like, like new. And it's like, so why did you buy it, dude? Yeah. Why did you bought this camera to not use it, to just sell it, to be able to put like new on your post? Like, I don't get it.
I use that's the other problem. Like I keep everything so long that I can't sell it because now it's kind of worthless. Which is why I'm selling the Q now, where it's still worth something, and the XH1 is still worth something. So let me get rid of it now while I still can and get something new.
Yeah, I do. To be frank, you use the Q like 5 times, maybe.
Me?
Right? Yeah.
No, I used.
You use it like a lot.
It's outside like every single day. I use it daily, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like there's no camera that I don't use.
I feel like you just got that too, but I mean, I'm really bad at that. Like,
it's been 7 months.
Time depiction. So 7 months.
Yeah, I got it in February. Unfortunately, like I bought it because we were gonna go to Yosemite like in June or July or something, and that never happened.
COVID ruined all of our lives.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Whatever. But I still use the heck out of it.
Wow, man. Yeah, dude, that's rough. But I mean, you're almost at a Q2. Just get it. Just get it. I want you to get it because I want to hear your opinion of it, because I like and value your opinions of cameras. Like, and I feel like that's all we talk about here on this this podcast should be renamed it just should be renamed to like opinions of cameras,
basically, right? That aren't like us or something.
Yeah. That'll be the tagline. Like the Q2, the only experience whatsoever I had with it is when you got yours, you came by my house, I think, to give me the Synology. And you're like, I just got the Q2. I held it out the window.
I just got it that day or something.
I held it. I touched it a little bit. I was scared, and I handed it back to you. And that's my full Q2 experience.
That's hilarious.
Man, I'm sure I'll like it.
You know. Actually, that reminds me like of how sad I absolutely am about the Leica store being like closed. I used to just go there and hang out all the time, and I became really good friends with everyone that works there. And it became like such a communal place for me. And then it just like got shit on, man. It sucks so much. I miss it like crazy. And it's being like able to go there and play like with the cameras and stuff and like try them out. And they were, the store here in Miami has been nice enough to like lend me stuff. Like they lent me a QP. The reason I even got a QP was because of them, because they lent me one to go to New York.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Literally the day I came back, I was like, sell me one of these right now. Like, it was awesome. I made some of my favorite photos I've ever made. I made with the QP that they lent me in New York.
They lent it to you out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy's going to come back and buy a QP. I guarantee it. Here you go, buddy.
For sure, dude. It was, I mean, yeah. And they've lent me lenses before for weddings that I've needed, and like flashes. Like, they're awesome. They really are. The customer service there is incredible. And having that space, and not just as a space of it being a store where you can purchase things, but also like an art space that had like not only art from photographers that might be well known, but also art from photographers that were local or are local, and they kind of just show their work there and stuff. Like, all that stuff are things that a lot of people don't realize that have kind of gone out the window with this whole COVID thing.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate to have that store here. Even if you're not a Leica shooter, even if you don't want to be like a shooter, you should still go to their events. Like they host photographers that come in and speak.
Yeah, man, it's awesome.
Most of the time, they don't shoot Leica because Leicas are expensive, especially for professional photographers. They use the tools they're used to. So most of these presentations are given by Canon shooters. And they're still really interesting to look at and listen to. So
yeah,
give them a shout. There's free beer. Free beer and wine too, so you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Follow us on Instagram, cmy.cast. Give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. We got to cut it here, but we'll be back next week, I think. Yeah. Next week I go to Tampa, but week after.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure something out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. Hopefully Yanni sells his
stuff soon.
His what you call it, trunk of stuff, so he can have his Q2. So next week we'll have that to talk about. It'll be 2 cameras, well, in as many weeks. So, but yeah, we'll see.
All right, guys.
Cool.
See you next week. See you the week after that, maybe.
Yeah.
Shake it up. Shake it up.
Stop that. I know.